Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the latest in my series of revisiting A Nightmare on Elm Street. But before I begin, if you're new here, I like to make these little videos about things I enjoy and want to share, usually film, and lately it's been a lot of horror and 80s throwbacks. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and giving me a little thumbs up icon so you get notifications for when I put up new content, which is usually once or twice a week. Over this month in particular, I am trying to work in a few more entries. Check out my back catalog and share both this channel and video around after staying around to the end, because it really does help out quite a bit. Okay. Now that all that's out of the way, as I said, as I did with the Friday the 13th franchise, I've been revisiting the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I'd seen all these films before, but some of them I hadn't seen in a long time. This one, I believe I haven't seen this since maybe 1991 or 1992. It's been a very long time. Anyways, this entry is for Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child from 1989, and the synopsis for this one is as follows. The pregnant Alice finds Freddy Krueger striking through the sleeping mind of her unborn child, hoping to be reborn into the real world. Okay, well, this is one of the entries which, even as a youngster, I didn't really care for that much. I remember specifically Parts 2 and 5 are ones that I didn't care for and didn't really watch that many times. But I went into this one with an open mind, just figured it's been a long time, and I've been seeing at least, one of these movies every week for a little while. So let's see what it's all about. So to dive in, this one felt a little bit more pulled back than Part 4. We focus more on Alice, and it's basically just about her and her unborn child, so we don't get that carryover from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 like we did with Part 4. And so she's our center of attention with this one, and some of the history for how Freddy was conceived and some situations that went down with his mother and how she became pregnant. But we also get, in my opinion, less of this idea of kills for the sake of a cool shot. Meaning where in Part 4 they seem to be coming up with ideas for cool ways for Freddy to show up and then trying to work a story around that. This one seemed to work the kills in a little bit better, where they seemed to kind of plug in the kills where they needed to move the story along a little bit better than they did in Part 4. It felt kind of like a return to form from Part 3. There's also a few recognizable faces in this one. So we've got Kelly Jo Minter as a prominent role in this. She was in another movie that I did a review for last year, which is Summer School, and I'll link to that one in the description or in one of the end screens. And she was also, had just like a very small little scene that she showed up in The Lost Boys. We also get Whit Hertford. No, I did not know his name. I had to look him up. He plays Jacob in this, in kind of what's eventually going to be Alice's child after he's born. But most people would recognize this guy from the beginning of Jurassic Park, where he showed up in there. And, he's been all over the place doing both voice work and other roles here and there. But I feel like this one sticks to a better format. This film in general sticks to a better format than Parts 4 and Part 2 did, which is strange to me, seeing is that this is one that I never cared for when it first came out. I probably only saw this one 2 to 3 times at the most, and it's been probably 30 years since I've seen them, which isn't, much for me, because back then we didn't have all this streaming stuff in every movie in the world, so I would rewatch stuff very frequently. Even during those times, I would frequently skip this one. And I did enjoy it a lot more this time going through, so it's nice to kind of come back with an open mind, see what it's like, and overall I enjoyed it, but that's not to say it's not without problems. So it still stumbles along the way here and there. Has some strange stuff going on, like how quickly they're able to get any detailed reading on Alice's baby on the sonogram, though I may have just missed exactly how long she had been pregnant. But even the portrayal of the sonogram itself, it's kind of weird that it would stick out to me. I don't work in medicine at all, but they're putting what looked like a regular, like a defib paddle or something on her. And, I don't know, it just didn't really make any sense. And, both the beginning as in how Freddy comes back, yet again, and the ending is in how he's seemingly defeated, which of course he's not. Those were both a little bit hard to understand exactly what was happening, especially with how he came back. He just seems to kind of find a way to remanifest himself. Contrary to like the Friday 13th films, they always lead you to exactly what happened to pop Jason back out of the ground or out of the lake. But he still, Freddy still comes across a little bit like prancing into the scene for the first time, like he's this talk show host everybody's excited to see. I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen him do a song and dance yet, though. I did see a video on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 from Minty Comedic Arts, I believe his channel is called. Anyways, where he reminded me of the fact that at one point in the 80s, with all the advertising, Freddy Krueger did rap. So I'm glad that wasn't in this film. But, you know, he's still coming across a little bit too much like the center of attention for everybody to celebrate rather than a villain to be frightened of. So that takes away from the horror element for me. I'm not really as frightened. But, you know, especially in certain scenes like there's like a comic-inspired nightmare where he turns into Super Freddy. And it's just, there's so much comedy thrown in. You can just see where the franchise had kind of hit its peak fright probably at around Part 3, I would say, and then is slowly kind of declining. But yeah, at least with this one, we did get a little bit more mystery going on. You know, it had more to do with, you know, how is he trying to come back? What happened with his mother? How was he conceived and so forth? The kills make a bit more sense in this. You know, it kind of follows the story along a little bit better, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I had previously. But, you know, there's still some problems at the entry, which did make it a little bit difficult to get through. But that's about all that I have to say about this entry, in that, you know, if you saw it years back and didn't care for it, maybe give it another try. It does have its problems, but it still can be entertaining if you go in with an open mind, and maybe looking at it from like a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of way, where you're kind of there to make fun of it. But anyways, you know, I really did enjoy this one, and I still have a couple more to go through. I have to go through Part 6 and 7 in the next 2 weeks before wrapping this up with, and wrapping up the Friday the 13th one with that crossover of Freddy vs. Jason on Halloween. So be sure to subscribe, hit that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up that content, and I will see you in the next one.